Welcome to the Systems That Scale Masterclass. We're going to be chatting today all about time management, automation, and outsourcing. I get this question all the time. How can I possibly run a photography business and manage my life well? Do you ever feel like you are trying to wear so many hats, or what I refer to all the time as I feel like I have too many plates that I'm juggling in the air at one time, and I feel like they either all come down crashing and burning, or I am just constantly trying to keep up the pace with all of the different areas of my life. So, this training, I'm literally going to walk you through step by step on how you can take hold of all the things, all the obligations, everything in your business, and run it well and not feel like you are constantly out of breath and overwhelmed and exhausted and all the things. So, if you don't already have a sheet of paper and a pen, you're definitely going to need one. This is a do it with me type exercise, and you are going to definitely be jotting things down as we go through this training. So feel free to pause this now, go grab what you need, and come right back. So today we're going to be covering time blocking, prioritizing, workflows, automation, and outsourcing. And I'm going to walk you through how each one of these things, what it looks like in my life, how I use it in my own business, and how I want you to use it in yours. So raise your hand if you are overwhelmed with all the things. I get this way still to this day, even though I know these techniques. Sometimes there's just busy seasons and I just simply get overwhelmed. But I am getting better and better at using the techniques that I'm going to walk you through today to organize my life and business. And it feels a lot better than being overwhelmed. All right, so the first thing that we're going to cover today is it's called time blocking. So, what is time blocking? I pulled this definition from Todoist.com because I thought it was the best definition. So, time blocking is a time management method that asks you to divide your day into blocks of time. Each block is dedicated to accomplishing a specific task or a group of tasks, and only those specific tasks. So instead of keeping an open ended to do list of the things you'll get to as you're able, you're going to start each day with a concrete schedule that lays out what you'll work on and when. And this is exactly what I use every single day of my life. So whether it is a work day and I'm trying to balance my photography business plus running my kids around and doing errands, or on the weekend when there's not a whole lot of photography business, but we're trying to manage what needs to get done over the weekend. So time blocking is going to absolutely change your life. And I'm going to show you some examples in this training. So let's talk about some possible blocks of time for different hats you might wear in your life. So let's start off with what we all are, and that is a photographer. So these are things like editing, prepping clients for shoots, and then the session itself. So under each block of topic, I guess, each little thing's a topic, but underneath it, I could list out a ton of different things. Okay. So for instance, my block of time for editing actually consists of uploading the images, culling the galleries, and then editing the images as well as sending sneak peeks. So all of that goes underneath the editing time block of my schedule. Another part, obviously, of my photography business is prepping clients for shoots. This is probably my biggest block of time that you're going to see consistently throughout my schedule. So this is communicating with clients, sending emails, talking with leads, prepping style boards, having clients try on clothes in the client closet, taking pictures of the client closet. Literally anything that happens from the time someone inquires with me until they book, all the way up until the session itself, is going to fall under this category. So that's a major block of time that I have to be very aware of on a week-to-week basis. And then, of course, the session itself. So for me, what this time block would look like on my schedule is driving to the session, meeting up with the client, actually photographing the session, and then driving home. So all of those things are in this one topic, one time block of my photography schedule in my day. Let's talk about what are some blocks of time you might need as a mother. So, if you have kids, these are things that you're going to have to make sure that you have time for in your schedule, or it's not going to get done. So, meal times, housework, spending time with your kids, all of these things, as silly as it sounds, if you don't have it actually scheduled, these are places you're going to drop the ball. So for us, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, my biggest drawback is not really the housework, and you'll find out why later, but it's meal times. I fail when it comes to prepping dinner, prepping lunch, eating lunch. There are days where I'll look down and it'll be 2 o'clock before I've even had lunch. Same thing with dinner. It'll be like 7:30, and then I realize that we have nothing to eat, and I'm scrambling to put dinner together, and I'm flustered, and then bedtimes get pushed back and all the things, and it is just crazy. So I I want you to look at this too. So you wear different hats: photography hat, the mom hat, the wife hat. The other one that I chose was just an everybody hat. What are the things that you have to do every single day? Errands, appointments, taking care of yourself. These are things that you have to block in your schedule or you won't get it done. So for me, I don't run errands every day, but what I try to do is I try to keep a running list of all the places I need to go. And then I choose one day and I give myself a certain block of time. So from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I might be running errands, picking up my kids, picking up things, going to the post office, grabbing a couple things that we need for dinner. And all of that happens in one day and a block of time. Okay. So keep that in mind. These you're gonna what you do is gonna look different. So these are just examples I came up with because I know that a lot of you are photographers, your moms, and of course you're a human. And humans from time to time we're gonna have to run errands, they're gonna have appointments, and guys, you gotta take care of yourself. And if you don't schedule for it, it's not gonna happen. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but it's how you choose to spend them that will dictate how productive you are. Have you ever gone through an entire day or maybe even like a group of days and all of a sudden you ask yourself, what did I do today? What have I been doing this week? I don't feel like I've gotten anything done. And it's just because you're not managing your time and your tasks well, which is why this entire training exists. So the first thing is to time block everything. Before you can time block it, you kind of need to know how the rest of the puzzle works. So now we're gonna dive into oh my goodness, prioritization. There we go. So our first step in order to get you more organized and get a time block system going is to brain dump all of your obligations, duties, and tasks. And when I say brain dump, I mean everything. And so I'm going to walk you through some examples, but this is where you now need to get your pen to paper and start brain dumping as I go along. So here's what I want you to do. We're now on the brain dump section of this training. So what I want you to do is I want you to write out on a piece of paper or pull up a Google Doc all of the things that you do daily, weekly, and monthly in both your business and your life. So this is absolutely anything that you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So I gave you some examples and I'm going to run through them. And again, some of these sound so basic, but if you don't look at the 24 hours you have and start assigning hours to these simple things, then you will never be able to run your business efficiently. So here's some examples. Daily things. We bathe daily. We have morning routines, and everybody does have a morning routine, regardless if it includes reading, working out, whatever. You have a morning routine, and it could be as simple as you get up, you brush your teeth, you put clothes on, you wake your kids up, you prepare breakfast, and you head out the door. It could be as simple as that. So we bathe, morning routines, school drop off, answer emails on the daily. You have to plan meals. You have to cook the meals, school pickup, evening routines, and you sleep every day. And this, again, it sounds so basic, but one of the biggest things that I can give you for a tip, and one that I break often and I suffer for it, is that you need to set a bedtime for yourself. If you're someone who can run off 5 hours of sleep and that's all you need, awesome, account for that. Put that in your schedule. But if you're somebody like me that requires a 7 or 8 hours of sleep, then you're going to want to make sure that you account for that. And a lot of times this means getting off your phone, getting off social media, not doing late night editing, and going to bed. So again, you're going to have to decide what works for you. Some weekly examples are working out, going to sessions, editing, responding to leads, prepping clients for sessions, baseball practice, meetings and appointments, etc. So there's some things you do daily, and there's some things that you do on a weekly basis. And then there's some things that you do on a monthly basis, which could be grocery shopping, additional housework, maybe you're taking a weekend trip, appointments, etc. So I want you to brain dump everything. So feel free to pause this training, get it all out on paper, and then come back and we will go through your list. So now that you have a list, it's time to prioritize everything that you just brain dumped. And here's how we're going to do that. The first step is that you need to organize each task, each thing you do by a category. So the best way to do this is to set it up by business tasks, your home tasks and obligations, and then a personal bucket. For some of you, you might be able to have additional categories, but for me, these are the 3 main buckets that I am going off of. So you're going to go through everything you brain dumped, and you're going to go assign it under these buckets. The reason you want to do that is because you want to see what is stealing all of your time, or where do you need to commit the most time to. For some of you, it might be business, but for some of you, it might be your personal life. Maybe you have 3 kids all in sports. That's going to take a lot of your personal life, but you need to be able to see where your time falls and what category is going to take the most amount of time. The second step is then you're going to go through your organized list in each category, and you are going to do one of the following items. You are either going to physically schedule it onto your calendar, you are going to add it to a in the future list, you're going to automate it, outsource it, or delete it forever. Okay, so what does this look like? And what do I mean? So for instance, every single day, you're going to have a wake up time and a go to sleep time. Go put that on your schedule. You're going to have a school drop off time if you have kids, and a school pickup time if you do that as well. For some of you, you might be working and running a photography business. So you're going to have a time where for your entire day, it might be blocked off to your 9 to 5, your 8 to 5, whatever that looks like for you. And then you're going to have a little bit of time left over to try to cram in all of your obligations. The add it to the in the future list, what I mean is maybe you want to redo your website. That becomes more of a project, and that can be added for something that's not urgent but important, and you're going to get to it later. You're just not quite sure when you're going to schedule that in. And that is something, again, that you'll do in the future. So when you do schedule everything out and you find yourself having more free time, you're going to go back to the in the future list, grab a project off of there, and schedule it in your calendar. I wonder if you're seeing the common theme yet, that if you don't schedule it, it doesn't get done. Now there's 3 other options as well, and we're going to break down each one of these. So for example, are there things on your list that you can schedule a set time for? Now I already gave you some examples, but just one more time to reiterate. Things that can be scheduled the same time every single day could be bathing, your morning routine, your meal time, so you're eating and you're cooking, and your school pickup and drop off. Those could be set times every single day. And when I run my business, I know that on a day-to-day basis during the school year that I have to close out my business tasks at 2:30 and I'm done for the day, or at least until the evening when I'm done with my other obligations, taking my kids to practices, all of those things. Are there things on your list that are more like projects? I already said this, I got ahead of myself, but you're gonna add this to that in the future list. Okay, so now let's talk about automation. This is a huge part of your business that a lot of you wait too long and until you're ready, which by the way, you're never going to be ready. You're ready right now to get automation in your business. So there are things that you're doing, especially in your business, that can absolutely be on automation. And here are some examples. Communicating with clients. So this is going to look like emails that can be scheduled on automation. Taking payments, so getting paid. You need an invoicing system. That way, you're not having to hunt down your client and get their payments and remind them of failed payments and all of the other things. Your booking calendar can be automated. So you manually go tell your booking calendar what dates you have available, and then it literally can do the rest for you. You can automate posting to social media. There's so many apps out there that could definitely help you with this. Even if you don't real time post, or even if you don't have it post to social media and you want to actually hit publish, you can absolutely do that. And then having groceries delivered weekly. This has been a game changer in my business, a game changer. So here are the automation tools that I use to solve these problems. So I use IrisWorks, which is a client management system. And what IrisWorks automatically does for me is it helps me with booking clients, communicating with clients, collecting payment, sending contracts, and all the other little things that it does. This literally freed up so many hours for me so that I could put my time and focus where my family needed me to. Some other automation tools that I use is Home Chef. This is who delivers my weekly meals. I found this and thought it was genius that they would deliver the meals to me on a Monday. I would have every ingredient and all the instructions I could ever need. And I actually enjoy cooking now. So, Home Chef has been a game changer. Another automation tool that I use is Planoly, and this I here's what I use it for. It can be an automated tool to schedule to social media, but I actually use it as a reminder to help me remember to post to social media. So I still very much want to post in real time when I have time to respond and when I have time to make sure that all goes well and nothing goes wrong. And so I just have it notify me that it's time to post for the day. And then the other thing that I do, and again, these sound so basic, but they are life changers. So there is one bill every single month that my husband and I forget about, and it's because this company does not offer an automation tool. So we do automatic withdrawals for our bills because we can't remember to pay the dang thing. However, there is one that we can't, and I'm telling you, it gets forgotten almost every single month, and we have to get the reminder notice. So this is a game changer. If you don't already do automatic bill pay, you should absolutely do it. Okay, I want to chat about something that is really hard for people: outsourcing. This is one of the hardest actions to take as a business owner, as a photographer, as a woman. It's hard. And it's because it's mindset issues. But this one thing can absolutely change your life. And it goes so far above the question of, can I afford this? Absolutely, you can, but you have to figure out what to outsource first. So, are there things on your list that you don't enjoy doing, takes up a lot of your time, or that you would just rather someone else do? I guarantee you there's at least one or two things on your list that fall into a category of something that you do not enjoy doing, something that takes you hours and hours and hours to do, or something that you would honestly just rather assign to somebody else. And did you know that this somebody else could be in your own home right now? So, and that could be as easy as laundry. So here are things that I outsource in my life and business. So I do outsource my editing on a seasonal basis. What does that mean? That means that I currently am doing about 85 to 90% of my own editing, except for when I get so behind or so backlogged, or when I am in my busiest season and I want quick turnarounds. So this is seasonal for me. So I use an amazing editor, and she does a phenomenal job. In fact, she typically gives my sessions back to me within 24 to 48 hours after I get them to her, and it just frees up so much for me. Editing and all of the technical skills come so easy and natural to her that for me, it would take me triple the time that it takes her. And so it absolutely pays for itself. Another thing that I outsource on a weekly slash monthly basis, whenever we get really busy, I do this on a monthly basis rather than a weekly basis, just because I'm not here to monitor it and I won't bore you with all that. But another thing that I don't like to do, I don't like to deep clean. That's something that would take 4 to 6 hours for me to do for I mean, literally from corner to corner of my house. And if I could just hire someone else to do that and go spend the 4 hours with my family, or spend the 4 hours driving to a session and making money while she's cleaning my home, then it works out great. And I get to serve someone else's household income. And that means everything to me. So that is something that I know a lot of us don't want to let go, or we have a hard time holding on to it because we don't want to pay for it. But I am telling you, even the mental clarity I get when I walk through that door is a game changer in itself. I am actually more productive the evening of or the morning after my house gets completely like deep cleaned, because I am just in a sense of like, I don't feel like I have clutter in my brain. Some other things that I outsource is social media management. Now, I want to be really specific here. I am the brains behind all of my marketing. However, I do have people that help me actually like put the graphics together, schedule it, all of those things, and figure out where it would fall on my calendar best. So I'm the brains, but I have other people that are kind of the moving legs, the arms and legs for me, if that makes sense. I have a bookkeeper. So while I still check in every Friday, I do a finance Friday, and I just check in. How am I doing? Do I have more expenses going out than income? Do I have more income than expenses? But I want somebody that knows exactly what they're doing and can help me strategize for the future of my business. So I also automate my bookkeeping by hiring a bookkeeper. And then the last thing that I currently outsource in my business is podcast editing. Now, this is probably not applicable to you, but I just wanted to let you in behind the scenes so that you could answer the question of, one, how does Brooke do it all? Brooke does not do it all. I have help. But two, that I do believe very much in automation and outsourcing, and I practice what I preach in this area. The last option on your list is to delete it. So there are probably one or two things on your list that you can actually delete. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. Is there anything on my list that truly isn't necessary? Is it something that I'm doing, but I could sacrifice for a little bit? Is there something that I'm doing that really isn't necessary and I could just wipe that off my list? Or is there something that you can decrease the amount of times that you are doing something? So for me, some months that looks different. So there might be months when I am going to see my personal trainer more than I really need to, when I really could be using that hour in my business. So it really kind of depends on what your lifestyle looks like. But I'm willing to bet there's at least one or two things that you could probably just knock off and just like not even do anymore. So I want you to evaluate. So now that you've gone through all of those things, now it's time to do the work. It's time to schedule. So you should be ready to schedule the things that need to go on your day-to-day time management list, your time blocking. You should have a couple of things that you can turn over to automation, and you should have a couple of things, at least one, that you can outsource. I really want to challenge you to outsource one thing that you do not enjoy doing or that it takes up so much of your time. And I want you to watch how someone else can not only do it better than you, but what are you going to do with that time that you get back? So we're going to jump into time blocking with what's left. So I created this sample schedule to show you what I mean when I say time blocking and what a schedule can look like day to day. So we've got 6:30 a.m., wake up and make coffee. I actually don't drink coffee, but I do drink an herbal tea. So you can insert drink water here too if you want to. 6:45, shower. 7 a.m., wake kids and have breakfast. 7:45, drop kids off at school. At 8 o'clock, head back home and finish getting ready. At 8:30, I'm typically diving into my Bible, journaling, and prayer for the morning. 9 a.m., I dive into my workday. I try really hard to get there by 9. And you want to start with your biggest task first, or the most urgent task first. So, what I mean by this is this could look like a gallery that you are, a gallery deadline that you are quickly approaching, and you just need to knock it out so that you can get to the rest of your list. That would be an example. There's other things in your business that might be bigger or more urgent, but that's what you're going to start with. The biggest thing first. At 11 a.m., I typically take an hour lunch break because even my brain needs a break. And then after lunch, I return to my workday and then I focus on smaller tasks. Some days I do 2 hours of gallery editing. Some days I answer emails or I put together style boards or something that doesn't take as much brain power to do. At 2 o'clock, I dive into my email inbox and I respond to any emails that need my attention. At 2:30, I try to get a workout in. This is not a daily thing, but this could be a block of time where I could throw in a workout. At 3 o'clock, I go pick up my kids. At 3:30, I'm pretty much spending time with them, whether we're looking at their homework, we're doing homework, we are playing. It just kind of really depends on a day-to-day basis. At 5 o'clock, we either do dinner prep, decide what we're having for dinner, or we actually get it going. 6 o'clock right now in this season looks like baseball games and practice. At 8 o'clock, we're pretty much starting to head home, and then we start doing the nighttime routine. Sometimes that looks like dinner, shower, bed. Other nights, it could look different. And then at 10 o'clock, we all aim to be in our beds and go to sleep. So, what time blocking could look like if you want to do this by days is, and I do this a lot. So, this is one of the things that I do. So, not only do I have a schedule per day, but I actually have things that I know every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I know what I'm focusing on for that day. So, on Mondays is when I do client prep and communication, working out, and photography sessions. On Tuesdays, it's typically editing and baseball games. On Wednesdays, it's editing, meetings, and sessions. Thursdays, it's working on those projects. So I always have a project going and I always set aside time every single week to work on it. It also includes working out and baseball games on Thursdays. And then Fridays, editing, working out, sessions, or family functions. And now we have softball games. So we've got a lot going on with kids, with family life, and a lot going on with business. I try to get all of my business stuff done before my kids start needing me and all of those things. Now, if you're working a full-time job, your schedule and time blocking is going to look a little different. So it might be that you don't start working on your business until your kids are asleep, and then you're working like 2-hour chunks in the night. It doesn't matter what yours looks like. It just matters that you use these techniques so that you can stay organized. Okay, we are wrapping this training up with, I saved the best for last, tips for a productive day, and then I'm going to show you some cool stuff too. So my biggest tip for you is to have a top 3 list. Every single day, I want you to ask yourself, what are the top 3 things that must get done today so that I can say, check, it was a productive day, and I know that I still moved the needle forward, or I still met my deadlines. So today, as funny as this is, my top 3 was taking care of myself. What that meant was I got up super early, got ready. After the kids went to school, I jetted over to our other town. I had to get a pedicure and get my nails off. They were literally falling off and I kept slamming them indoors and all the other things. So that was like my number 1, so I could function again and use my hands. Number 2 was to make it to this training and get this training done. And number 3, I have a maternity session later this evening. If I get all 3 of those things done, it's been a productive day. And then yes, there's other little things in between that I'm working on behind the scenes, but those were not big enough priorities to make it to my top 3 list. The next thing is time block and stick to it. If you told yourself that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those were going to be your bulk editing days, that's when you need to get it done. Okay. I no longer edit just one session, which I think I'm talking about this in a future slide. So I'm just going to barely scratch the surface here, but I used to edit one session at a time and figured out, nope, that does not work. I'm not in the mood to edit every single day. And so when I am in the mood to edit, I want to knock out as many galleries as I possibly can. And I will tell you about that in just a second. And then my third tip for you is to take the time to actually eat well. Do not skip lunch. Do not skip dinner. You need to eat. Okay. So make sure that you're eating well, because if you're not eating well, your brain can't catch up and it will literally act so slow. And that's why you're going to feel groggy and like you need to sleep and take a nap and all of those things. So make sure that you are fueling your body with enough water and snacks and food that are actually going to help fuel your body and your brain. Okay, so this is one of my favorite hacks that I want to share with you. This is my Google time blocking hack. So I run my life from calendars, both paper and digital calendars. So what I wanted to show you was I love color-coded organizational calendars. And I saw this on another training and I loved it. And so I kind of tweaked it and made it my own. But what I do is over on the left-hand side, it says my calendars. I color coded and set up a calendar color for every single category in my life. So to run you through a few: meetings, editing, education, exercise, working out, housework, cleaning, iris work, which means my photography sessions, kids, events, lives, and podcasts. Okay. Yours, you might only have 3 colors or you might have all 10. So this is what this looks like. You can visually see what I have going on every single day. This helps so much. And I highly recommend that you start using your Google Calendar so that you can time block it and color code it like this. Okay, my last juicy tip. It's called batching. Batching and time blocking are literally one and the same, and they are awesome. So batching is by far my best tip for you. It is really hard on the brain to switch from task to task. You will be more productive by batching your work. So the example that I tried to give you earlier was I now edit 2 to 3 galleries at a time rather than 1 at a time. This allows me to build momentum. So if you are someone that has a lot of little tasks to do, you don't want to keep switching from answering emails for 30 minutes, editing for a little bit, catching up on Netflix, eating a snack, going back to the inbox, going back to the editing, doing, like, you see how the switching is going on here. Your brain can't handle that. It's too much. And so if you're going to clean your house, you need to batch clean your house. So you need to not just pick up some laundry, start some laundry, do some dishes. You need to like pick 2 or 3 rooms, get it all done at once, and then move to the next item on your task list. Batching will absolutely change your life on top of time blocking. And that's why time blocking works, is because you are separating out your tasks and you are allowing there to be a group of like tasks together that you can just run through, build momentum to get it done, and scratch it off your list, move on to the next thing. So now it's your turn. I want you to follow these steps to organize your life and business. You absolutely can do this. Watch this training as many times as you need it and do the exercise. It's really hard at first to start organizing, especially if you're someone that is not a type A personality or you're not someone that's really organized. It can be weird and awkward at first, but I promise that if you'll stick to it, you're going to be amazed by how you're going to have mental clarity. You're going to have more energy day to day, and you're actually going to be really productive so that when Friday or Saturday rolls along, you can turn back and look at all the things that you were able to produce in your week. So it is your turn. Good luck. I can't wait to see how you're able to automate, outsource, and organize your life and business.